Canada's borders are changing, with some new measures having been announced by Mark Miller, the Immigration Minister of Canada, just yesterday. And it seems from that update that Canada is stepping up its border security for 2025. But what does this mean for you if you're planning to immigrate to Canada, or if you're planning to come to Canada for school, or if you just want to visit the country? This may impact you as well. So sit tight while we unpack all the details shortly. Welcome back. My name is Carl, and thank you for joining me on the channel. I'm here to bring you the latest updates on Canadian immigration and life abroad. If you're new to the channel, thank you for being here. Please consider subscribing to the channel. And for the returning subscribers, thank you so much for the love and support. Now, we're going to look at Canada's enhanced border security measures that were announced just yesterday, January 15th, by the Immigration Minister. We're going to look at what's changing, who it's going to affect, and why these measures are being introduced, and how you can prepare to travel smoothly. Now let's dive in. Now, what are the new border security measures that were announced yesterday? Well, yesterday Mark Miller unveiled some new policies aimed at strengthening Canada's borders. We're going to look at a couple of them, right? Now, the first one that the Immigration Minister announced is increased scrutiny, okay? Meaning that now travelers will undergo more rigorous checks at entry points, including document verification and biometric scans. Now, I have heard that this might already be happening, maybe not in a large scale form, but it's definitely happening at Pearson Airport, right? Where travelers are being taken through more rigorous checks. They are asked more questions, and, you know, some have faced very, very difficult consequences because they were not able to answer some of those questions. But we're going to talk about more of that. And also, under the increased scrutiny, officers have additional tools for identifying discrepancies in traveler information. Now, there are a few people, maybe not a few, there are quite a number of people that have been sent back home from Canada's airports. And I've heard many of those reports. Now, mainly because when they arrived at the airport, they were asked a few questions, and it turned out that the answers they gave to those questions did not tally with their information on file, right? So this would obviously be considered as misrepresentation, you know, and many people have been deported right from the airport. You know, they landed, they were asked those questions, they could not answer them, or they gave, you know, many different answers, and they were just sent back. Okay, so I've heard that that is really going on. That is why I'm saying that make sure that whatever information you use to apply for your visa, you have that on hand and are able to provide that to the border officer on arrival. So under increased scrutiny, those are some of the new things the Immigration Minister announced, that officers are going to have more tools for identifying discrepancies in traveler information, and travelers will now undergo more rigorous checks. Now, the other thing that the minister also talked about is information sharing. Now, we already know, and if you watched my videos about how you could get banned from Canada or US for misrepresentation, I did mention in that video that Canada has something called, or is part of something called the Five Eyes Alliance. So it's Canada, USA, New Zealand, UK, and Australia. These 5 countries share information, right? And now the Immigration Minister has said that a key element of the plan is to enhance that collaboration with their international partners. And in my opinion, I think, you know, means strengthening the Five Eyes Alliance. Now, Canada has said that it is going to exchange data with global security agencies to identify bad actors before they even reach Canadian soil. Again, I have heard that people that have tried to travel from their home countries to Canada face rigorous checks, even at their home country airports. So this might be one of those strategies that the immigration minister is talking about. People are asked more questions, and some are not allowed to board the plane from their home country that would take them to Canada. So just keep that in mind as well. So Canada is saying they're going to strengthen that, and they're going to share information. So I did mention in that video that if you are given a ban or you're banned from Canada, it is likely, highly likely, that other countries like the USA, UK, New Zealand, and Australia are going to know about it. It's just a matter of time, right? So make sure that you're on top of things, as these countries will be communicating. And I know that most people, if Canada doesn't work, you might want to go to the US or Australia. They are sharing information. Just be careful. Okay. Now, the sharing of information might include travel history, flagged individuals, and suspicious patterns detected in border traffic. Okay, so they would be analyzing all of that. So just be careful. And I know Canada is doing that probably because, you know, there was an incident in the US recently. I think it was a terror attack, and it turned out that the individual had come in or got to the US through Canada, right? So the individual was able to come into Canada, nothing was flagged, and then he was able to transition from Canada to the US, where he perpetrated the atrocities. So Canada is being very, very careful now. And I'm going to say that make sure that whatever you're submitting does not earn you a ban. Whatever you're doing, whatever application you're submitting to any of these 5 countries, just be careful. And let me also add here, one of the most notable updates in the new border security measures is the introduction of strict punishments and hefty fines for individuals or organizations that attempt to bypass the system or engage in fraudulent activities. So Canada is going to crack down on fraudulent immigration agents. So immigration agents or immigration consultants that are found guilty of misrepresentation or fraud will be subject to immediate penalties. Now, this could include revocation of their licenses, financial penalties that can go up to $1.5 million, and potential imprisonment. So the government is actively encouraging victims of fraud to report such agents to ensure they are held accountable and to protect future applicants as well. Now, Canada has also stated, the minister has stressed that there's going to be a naming and shaming approach, in that to deter other bad actors and other bad immigration consultants and all of those people, the government is going to implement a naming and shaming strategy, which means that individuals and organizations that are caught violating immigration laws will have their names published on public government lists. In essence, I believe that this would also help the general public as well. You would be able to go through the list and see whether an immigration consultant or an immigration person that you're dealing with is actually on that list, you know, and if they're being flagged, then you know that you would have to tread more cautiously. And as the immigration minister has said, Canada will not hesitate at all to expose and penalize those who threaten the integrity of Canada's immigration system. I mean, just imagine an agency that promises guaranteed visas to unsuspecting clients for a very, very hefty fee. Once they are caught, not only will that agency face fines and legal repercussions, but its name will also be listed publicly, making it nearly impossible for that agency to, you know, operate again or engage in more fraudulent activities. So what do you think? Do you think this naming and shaming approach is going to be effective? Would it make you think twice about who you trust for immigration services? Now, let me know in the comment section as well. Now, yesterday, the immigration minister did not mention this, but it is also suspected that the country or Canada might consider deploying cutting-edge technology like AI-powered systems and facial recognition software to help detect high-risk individuals, okay, and expedite low-risk travelers. So what do you think of these changes? Are they necessary for safety, or do you think they could create more hurdles for legitimate travelers? Let me know in the comment section below and let's have a chat. Now, who is affected by these measures? We're going to take a quick look at that. Who is going to be affected by these measures? Now, the measures that have been announced just yesterday is going to impact different groups in various ways. That is my opinion. Now, for example, when it comes to tourists, the minister gave the impression that visitors would be scrutinized more. So, visitors should prepare for longer wait times due to the extra security steps like document scans and additional questioning. So I honestly think visitors should prepare for that as well. Now, the minister further stated that visit visa refusals are up more than 61%. They are up by more than 61% for countries where Canada spotted the highest levels of abuse, although he did not specify the exact countries or the time period for this. But visa refusals are up by 61%. That is huge. That is huge. So you don't want to go through all that hassle and then get the visa only to be bounced back at the airport. Okay, so I think this would impact tourists as well. Now, I also think that international students and workers will be impacted. Students and workers are going to face stricter verification of study or work permits. I know that quite recently, Canada has taken steps to verify admission letters before students even get the student visas. So these extra security steps, I think, would impact also international students and workers. So ensure that all documents are complete and up to date to avoid any delays. Make sure everything is accurate. And lastly, I also think that these new measures would affect permanent residents and new immigrants as well. Immigrants will undergo deeper checks to confirm their eligibility and compliance with Canadian immigration rules. That's what I think is going to happen, because you know, when you apply for your permanent residence, you undergo a background check. Now, I have, been on some forums where people have expressed their concern that their background checks are taking quite some time. At first the background checks might not take too long, but now people have had their background checks go for over 3, 4, in extreme case scenarios, maybe over even 6 months. Okay, so Canada is taking its time to actually check the background of immigrants, permanent residents, and all of that. So I think that even if you're in that category, do not be complacent, because, for example, as a student, imagine that you go through all the hassle of getting the visa and then arriving at the airport for your very first semester, and the officer is asking you a few questions about your study permit, your proof of enrollment, is asking you questions about, let's say, your financial statements, and your information does not tally with what they have on file, or you're missing some documents. That could cause delays, right? And in the worst case scenario, you might be sent back. So Canada is really going hard in 2025. So let me know, have you faced any challenges at Canada's borders recently? Share your story in the comment section below to help others. Well, in as much as we talk about this, I still believe that these enhanced border security measures do have some benefits. One of the benefits is that it enhances safety and helps make Canada safer for everybody. Secondly, I also think that it improves the collaboration Canada has with other international partners in being able to block entry for individuals that have been flagged, or high-risk individuals like terrorists and stuff like that, right? Also, I think that it improves the integrity of Canada's immigration system. I think that is also one of the things that they're gearing at. So it all works well for that. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is the deterrence of bad actors. Now, the minister did state that they are going to introduce strict punishment and hefty fines for individuals or organizations attempting to bypass the system or engage in fraudulent activities. Now, let's talk about some challenges and criticisms of these new policies and measures. Now, I agree that no policy is perfect, and these changes will definitely come with some challenges, as some have started to point out. And the first one, obviously, is longer processing times. So the added layers of security are definitely are going to result in some delays, especially during peak travel seasons where people are, applying for visas in their numbers, or people are traveling in their numbers. These new policies might cause some delays. And also there are some privacy concerns that have been raised. The increased information sharing with other countries and international agencies is raising questions about how personal data is stored and used, because you're going to be sharing personal information about people with other countries. There are also concerns about discrimination risks, that the stricter checks may lead to profiling based on nationality or ethnicity, right? So definitely there is going to be some profiling there based on your nationality, where you're from. And a realistic example is that, let's say a traveler from a flagged region might face extra scrutiny, even if they have all their documents in order, right? And while, the intention is to ensure safety, it can feel a bit unfair. Those are just some of the challenges that people have flagged so far. But what do you think? Do you see these challenges as necessary sacrifices for security, or do they create unnecessary obstacles? Let me know your thoughts. And finally, let's share some tips for navigating these changes. I want to give you some practical tips to ensure that you have a smooth experience. Now, first of all, I would say make sure you organize your documents. Double check your passport, visa, permits, your supporting documents, everything, and keep them accessible at all times, just in case you are required to produce them, or you are required to provide some information on any of these documents. You can provide information that tallies with whatever you submitted. So make sure you're very, very organized. Sometimes it is not that the people that are coming in have done anything fraudulent. It's just that sometimes they panic. Sometimes they actually forget what they put on their application, and it's a genuine mistake, right? But that genuine mistake could really, really cost you, right? So make sure you are organized with all your documents. Also, make sure that you're always updated with any new information or any new policies that IRCC brings. Also, another tip is to plan for delays. Okay, so have a backup plan in case there are some delays. So allow for extra time for screening and processing, and especially during busy travel periods. Okay, so if you're also intending to come to Canada for any reason, and you have a timeline, make sure that you add some extra time to factor in delays in case they occur, right? So keep that in mind as well. And lastly, I would say that make sure you avoid these bad actors. In Ghana, we usually call some of these people connection men, okay, that try to get you Canadian visas at all costs. I would say that tread carefully, okay? Be cautious when dealing with some of these immigration consultants and agents and all of that. Make sure that you verify their services, and make sure that you avoid scams and illegal practices. There are people that have been banned or deported from the airports because of some things that the immigration consultants did on their blind side, so they were not aware. Okay, so I'm saying if you're thinking of working with immigration consultants or agents, travel agents, and all of that, tread cautiously. I'm not trying to ruin anybody's business, but tread cautiously. Okay, so before we sign off, let me know what you think. Is Canada's enhanced border security measures a step in the right direction? While these measures may bring some challenges, they also offer significant benefits that I think far outweigh the challenges. Okay, the benefits far outweigh the challenges. It has significant benefits for safety and system integrity. That is what I think. But let me know in the comment section what you think as well. I would say that always remember that the key is preparation and organization. Okay, now if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone planning to visit or move to Canada. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.